Yeah, good morning to all present here, and we are going to see today the principles of management, unit number two, that is planning. Right. So let us know what is the planning now, and the decision in advance. What we do is when we do it, and who will do it, and how can be it can be executed is nothing but of a planning. Planning is the pre-selection of an objective outline and action before starting any kind of works or a business or something. It's nothing but of a planning. Planning is always an advanced decision making one, and choosing the alternative of making the decision is called planning. So these are the nature of planning. Planning a primary function, planning a dynamic process, planning based on objectives and policies, planning a selective process, and precisely of planning. Planning is an intellectual process and is directed towards the efficiently planning focused with future activity, flexibility of planning, and planning is based on facts, the purpose and importance of objectives of planning. So it may be taken as a purpose or importance, or it may be taken as an objective. The preliminary planning to achieve objective, the scope with uncertainty and change, facilitate the control, help the coordination, help in coordinating to increase the organizational effectiveness, guide decision making. These are all the some of the objectives and importance of this planning. So let us have a brief discussion on this planning process. This is the identification of opportunities first and establishment of an objectives. So first of all, we have to identify what are all object opportunities we have for the planning process and establishing the objectives. So based on the opportunities, we may find the objective, and based on which we can establish and development of the planning and identification of alternatives. So these alternatives, you may know that we may have some different sources when the sources is not an evaluating of the alternative, selection of alternative, and formulating of derivative plan and establishing the sequential objectives and the types of planning for your. So here, first of all, when the planning in this in process, we have to identify the opportunities. So what are all the opportunities we have for a plan and establishing the objectives and developing the planning prisms and identifying the alternatives. So identifying the future opportunities and analysis the clear, complete or what we should do, where we stand, what is our strength and weakness, and what is the problem to be solved. That has to be identified in identification of opportunities and establishment of objectives. The specific objective has to be indicated for the expected result and specified in the key results such as profitability scales, research and development, and manufacturing. Development of planning premises provides the basic framework which helps operate an internal premises organization, policies, policies and resources scales and forecast. External promises, political, technological, and competitors, plans, and action of government policies. Identification of alternatives. So in the course, we have to identify some of the alternatives for your actual plan of plan A, and that is plan B. An evaluation of the all alternatives, and you have to evaluate the profitability and what are the investment what we are doing and the skills and the risk involved in it, and selection of the opportunity based on the evaluation of the alternatives. So the selection of alternatives can be done and formulating the derivative plans. Derivative plans are several minor plans required to support the executive plans. So for example, we have some major plans with us, but we need some of the, like, while executing we may have some of the changes or the minor changes or new plans, and that has to be as formulated in derivative plans and establishing the sequence of activities. So that has to be very clear that we have to be established. The sequence is very, very important to coordinate and also to success the project. And here we have some of the types of plan. So the standing plan over a year. Mission, objective, goal, aim, and target. And this is over a year, over a year's strategic plan, policies, procedures, and rules. So this is based on the standing plan over a year. It's a single rule plan, just a single use plan. For a short time of a period, we may use the single use plan. So that programs, budgets, schedules, methods, and projects that will be under this and type of planning. So based on the scope, operational planning, tactical planning, strategic planning, and continuous planning. So operational planning is the job of responsibility of the manager and supervisor team, and which has enters the facilitators development and operational planning support the tactical planning also. May a single plan use also is ongoing on the plan. Tactical plan. The concern was that the lower level unit, which each division must do, how to do, who is in charge, 1 year or less, because consideration of the short-term goal. Strategic, an outline of an overall thing, what we are going to establish here, and that has to be seen. And beginning with the mission, looking ahead over of 2 to 3, 4, 5, even more years to move the organization. The advantages. Helps in achieving the objective, better utilization of utilization, risk reduction, uncertainty, improve the competitive strength, coordination, effective control, and courage, motivation, guide in decision. There are the major advantages based on we are while using for the plan and the type of plan. And some of the limitations are also there for planning, that is lack of accurate information, time and cost, inflexibility, delay in duration of emergency period, false sense of security, scrutiny unless the plans are reviewed and revised periodically. Process steps of planning. So this is what is the process we will just see. The steps involved in the steps involved in strategic planning process are being aware of opportunity, establishing the objectives or a goal, developing of plan, premises, determining the alternatives, evaluating the alternatives, selection based alternatives, formulating the supporting plan, establishing the sequentially. Being aware of the opportunity. So first we'll see about the steps. We have seen about the steps, and then it leads to formulate the plan and provide whatever the opportunity existing for existing for taking up in a particular plan. An analysis given them preliminarily look at with a possible future opportunity, establishing the objectives. So as we seen in the last topic that we have some achievements of the goal of an organization based on which the goal they will be working towards that. So based on the establishment of the goal or objectives, we have to work. Developing the premises. The planning premises are assumption about the environment which plan to be carried out. Planner need to realistic the forecasting development of the planning premises. Calculating the probable futures, analyzing of changing of forces, government policies, developing what of the decision making and planning systematic investigations, and these are all comes during the development phases. Determining alternative courses. Alternative courses can be identified based on the planning premises and the objective of the firm. It's important to note that number of alternatives should be reduced to the most of the promising fruitful one by a preliminary analysis. Alternatives can be discovered through the research, experimentation, and experience. So this is based on which the alternatives can be chosen. Evaluation. Anyway, once we have chosen some alternative based on some research or some expected thing, we have to evaluate that to find that which is strong and which is weak and that can be applied or not. And some of the softwares are gratefully help to evaluate this process and to identify the answers. To identify the answer is correct or not, it can be applied based on the software process also. So based on which we can have some decision, and based on that we can results and the achievements from the alternatives, we can select the best alternatives which may work for us, and based on that the decision making can be adopted. And the formulation of supporting plan. After formulation of a main basic plan, the various sub plans are derived. So based on which the total plan will be there for an organization, but anyway we need some sub plans to achieve this main plan. Establishment of sequences. All right, it is the sequence of activity is determined so that the plan are put into action efficiently and effectively. The finance accounts department will prepare the budget for the various period of plans for the greater concern, meaning for implementation. So tools and techniques. So these are some of the tools and techniques of planning. One is forecasting, contingency planning, scenario planning, benchmarking, and participatory planning and goal setting. So forecasting, which is the quantitative and qualitative forecasting, is not. This is a statistical tool which is to base the experience of the predict the future state. So this is a statistical tool based on which the future can be predicted and predicted effectively. Forecasting, the mathematical rule, a series of path data to predict outcome. The qualitative is use of judgment and opinion, knowledge, individual and predictor sum. The contingency planning is identifying an action to take when the strategy or tactical plan must be based on the circumference. Considering the future scenario and developing the plan of the address of the issue is nothing but of a scenario plan. So benchmarking is the best practice among the competitors and non-competitors. Comparing your company with some outside organization with both the industry and in the business. Benchmarking steps. Form a benchmark of planning team. Identify, gather internal and external data. Analyze the data to identify the performance gap. Prepare implementation plan. Participatory planning. Include those impacts who will implement your plan in the process. Goal setting. Developing the clear quantified measures that guides the organization and the individual work. So strategic management. Next, and the final topic. Strategic management is the process of setting goals, procedures, objectives in order to make a company organization more competitive. Types of organization strategies: stability strategy, product development, vertical integration, vertical integration. So stability and strategy satisfy with the present level of activity and profit, development of a new product for a new market, vertical integration, process of consolidation. Importance of strategic management. So this is some of the important. It provides a clear objective and direction for the employers, and firms anticipate changing the condition, research and advancing so that the process can help the managers. Businesses perform strategic management are more effective. Strategic management provide a financially benefits. It improves the quality of strategic decision through group of interaction. Strategic management process. So environmental scamming, situation analysis, strategic formulation, strategy implementation, strategy evaluation. So we have to formulate and also implement and also evaluate. So this based on the situation of analysis. So based on the analysis of the situation, we are have to strategic the formula strategy has to be formulated and implemented and evaluated. So next we'll see the management by objectives. MBO, we call it as MBO is a management system which each member of an organization effectively participate and involves himself. According to George Dionio, Odieron, MBO is a process where the supervisor and subordinate managers of an enterprise jointly identify. It is a common goal to define the individual major area responsibility in terms of results expected him and use the measures guides for operating the unit and assessing the contribution of the. It creates the self-controls and motivation to the managers into the action before somebody tells them to something to do. So the management objectives, which gives some of the motivation and self-control to the managers and also subordinates and supervisors, and that may give the confidence to them to achieve the expected results from them. Features of NBO. Goal oriented, not work oriented. So the managing by objectives only the goal oriented, not an work oriented. It integrates the goal of an organization or individuals. Combines the long term goal with short term goal. Participated in subordinate managers in the goal setting process. High degree of motivation. Satisfying is available to the employees. Periodic review will be done. Performance will be done in the MBO. Increase the organization capability. Increase the organization capability and achieving the goal. So it's the better guidelines and evaluation mechanism. So these are all some of the features which is in MBO. And finally, we'll see the process of NBO. Setting a primary objectives, fixing a key results area. So we have to make some